welcome back to the channel. So we are here with another reading vlog. I seem to be doing a lot of these lately. I don't know, I'm just in the mood to do vlogs. I actually really like doing vlogs. This one is going to be one I've never done before. So I'm doing it easy on myself this time for the first time. And that's going to be reading for 24 hours within a 48-hour period. So we're doing 24 and 48. I was going to try to do a 24-hour reading vlog, but I get very, they make me anxious for some reason because I feel like there's just a lot of pressure. Also, because it is Friday night currently right now, I have no plans for tonight. However, tomorrow night, we are going to the fair for a few hours. And I want to sleep in there somewhere in between. So, I want to give myself enough hours to be able to do other things. But the free time I have in between, I want to spend reading as much as possible. So I do have specific books that I'm going to read for this vlog. Well, specific types of books. There's quite a few options. I know for a fact I'm not going to read all of these because I don't think any of them have audios available, which means it's a slower read for me. So I'm going to have to read them physically. Only one of them I own physically. The rest are actually on Kindle Unlimited. All of these books that I'm presenting and could possibly read for this vlog are all new releases. Now that's within the month of August, new releases. Passenger Princess. I don't remember the exact date that this came out, but I'm pretty sure it came out a week or two ago. So I do have, this is the one physical copy that I have. This is a Grumpy Sunshine Forced Proximity Road Trip. She's a pageant queen, I guess, and he is her bodyguard / her driver, and that he is stuck with her and he's not happy about it. So he's definitely the grump because he's used to touring with a famous rock band, and now he's kind of stuck with this pageant queen. I don't know, it just sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we have that one. One of these literally I just saw the other day and I was like, ooh, this sounds interesting. It's an author I hadn't heard of before, and that is Cash by Jessica Peterson. It's the first book of the Lucky River Ranch series. So it's cowboys, as you can see. I don't know. This one came out on the 22nd, so it came out yesterday. And this one is another Enemies to Lovers, Grumpy Sunshine, Small Town Cowboy Romance. That's really all I need to know about it. She's been estranged from her dad for years, but as his only living relative, she inherits his massive cattle ranch when he dies, but the stipulation is she has to live on the ranch and manage it for a year before she can get any of the inheritance. She needs money to invest in a company. So the hero is the ranch's foreman, whose name is Cash Rivers. So I'm guessing it's all the River brothers, possibly, because there's two others here listed. Wyatt and Sawyer are the other two books listed here. But anyway, Grumpy Cowboy Cash Rivers. I don't care how good he looks in Wranglers and Chaps. He's rude, he's growly, and he wants me gone. I'd fire him in a heartbeat, but I need him to teach me the ropes of running a ranch. It's a standalone book in a new interconnected series. Interesting. So I'm hoping that, I don't know if they're going to be other ranch hands or brothers or what, but I am here for it. Next we have Ali Martinez had a new release. This one just came out yesterday as well, the 22nd. I think this is a war veteran. It says, people call me a recluse. Death has been chasing my entire life. I survived the horrors of war, but it was the aftermath that truly destroyed me. So he has a really tortured hero with a damaged past. They call me a recluse, but the only time I didn't feel anything suffocating was inside that house. Oh, he's a dad. I wonder if it's single dad. So he's a damaged war veteran, single dad, whose daughter helps force him into implementing a rigid routine. Once a week, he walks to the diner. That's kind of his ritual until the diner is closed the one day, and that screws up that just messes with his whole routine. Oh, and the new owner was a ghost from his past. It had been years since I laid eyes on Gwendolyn Pierce. She hated me, and rightfully so. But when a film crew arrived in town to dig into my past, she became my only ally. Interesting. With my secrets threatened, I leaned to Gwen, forging a connection neither of us could deny. With the past as dark as ours, I feared with eclipse that they hope for the future. Oh. Now, there are dark elements to her books. I would definitely call her probably dark romance. This sounds good, though. The cover is but I love Ali Martinez. So I'm definitely going to hopefully get to this one because I think she's got me already. And then I think I have two more options. Yeah. So the other one I have is an author, another new to me author, and that is The Little Things by Jessica Prince, a small town age gap romance. It's part of the Second Hope series, book 1. And this one, so this is another, it came out August 12th, so it's fairly new. It's like a week or two, a little bit over a week old. I made my fair share of stupid decisions, but it all took was an accidental felony and a teensy kitchen fire to turn my life upside down. Her parents cut her off, selling my swanky Los Angeles apartment, shipping me off to some ranch in the middle of nowhere to teach me a lesson. Then I got to Safe Haven Ranch and met my new boss. Again, grumpy sunshine. Zach Paulson is an older grumpy cowboy who thinks I'm nothing more than a spoiled princess and doesn't want me on his turf. Yup. This is the theme. Listen, he also happens to be drop dead gorgeous and can wear a faded pair of Wranglers better than any other man alive. Sense of theme here in these books. So she's determined to prove herself, and yeah, so this is the grumpy sunshine, small town. Sounds like sort of forced proximity. So this sounds really fun. Interesting. Okay, the last one I have is The Highland Escape by Emily Silver. And this one came out on August 15th. This one is set in Scotland, I believe. The Scottish Highlands, I assume. It's called The Highland Escape. So it sounds kind of rom-com-ish. The first time I met my neighbor, I was covered in toilet water. The second time, I was staring up his kilt. Sounds rom-com-ish. So she somehow gets keys to a old Scottish inn. Oh, her grandmother left her an old Scottish inn who she's never met. I couldn't pass up the opportunity. She has no clue how to run an inn, let alone fix it up. She turns to the one person who doesn't want to help her, which is their neighbor. There's 5 different options for me to read. I can tell you right now, there ain't no way I'm going to read all of these books. I kind of want to read one of the cowboy ones. I just finished a book for another, not for another vlog, but I just finished reading my audiobook that I was listening to, so I could start this vlog. But I do need to read a book for another vlog so I can finish out that vlog. So we'll see how this whole reading 24 and 48 actually works in terms of these particular books. But I definitely want to read Cash, and I think I definitely want to read Alone with You and Passionate Princess. I think those would be like the big 3. I don't know what I'm going to start with, so I think I'll just end this intro right now. And what time is it? We should start this. So it is 4:45. So we'll say 5 o'clock. So we'll go from 5 o'clock today until 5 o'clock Sunday. And see how much I actually get done. I don't know. This could go either way. I could either do really, really well with this, or I will just epically fail. Or I will be reading like a machine the beginning of this vlog, and then like the end of it, I will just taper off and fail. Because that's usually what happens. One way or the other. It just turns out not well. Dogs. Nobody's here. Nobody is here. Anytime a van drives by, they think it's the delivery man. So okay, I'm gonna go make myself dinner and feed the dogs, and then I will pick up one of these books. my tripod fell on the floor and I don't feel like getting it, so hopefully this angle works okay. But I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a progress update. So it is 10 o'clock right now, and I started this at what, 5? So in the last 5 hours I've probably read a total of 2 hours, which isn't terrible. That's not awful, because there was lunch in there, and then there's a lot of me getting distracted for things. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I am keeping a stopwatch on my phone. I'm hoping that if I keep it paused, like, it'll stay and it won't reset itself every time. But right now it's at 1 hour and 36 minutes. So in case it does reset, I'm documenting how much time is on it. However, before I thought of that idea, there was probably a 20-ish minutes that I was reading before that, like in between cooking and stuff. So probably altogether added up to about 20 minutes total. So I'm going to say I'm about 2 hours into reading of the 24. So we have 22 hours left to read. Now, so I'm thinking I'm probably going to go to bed. 10 o'clock may be early for some, but for me that is like really late. I'm an 8 o'clock, 9 at the absolute latest girly, because I do wake up so early for work in the morning. I used to be a night owl because I was most productive at night, especially like around this time. But since my job is so early in the morning for the last like however many years, I'm an early to bed, early to rise girly. But I'll give you guys a reading update. So I am 26% into Cash by Jessica Peterson, and I'm liking it. It's a little slow. There's a lot of, in the beginning, it was a lot of like exposition and info dumping and explaining of things. And that was before, so it's, Molly is a heroine and Cash is our hero, and it is brothers. So I think every book in the series, I think there's 5 total, because there's 5 brothers. They all work at the ranch. They all their family has their own ranch. I am so like tongue tied right now. I'm so tired. I'm just like, yeah, I guess I am tired. So they have their own family ranch that has kind of fallen on hard times. They've been working at Molly's father's ranch to earn money and pay off their parents' debt. It is a huge ranch. It's a big old cattle ranch. Thousands of acres. What made them wealthy is in oil. They found oil some years ago. So Molly and her mother moved out away from the ranch when she was like a kid. Her parents got divorced, and she's had a strained relationship with her dad. But as an adult, she developed so much like resentment because she thought he never cared about her as a kid and never came around. So she wanted nothing to do with him, and now it's obviously too late. And she has a lot of guilt and regret about that when she like goes to the reading of the will, finds out that she's left the ranch, left everything in a trust, but there's a stipulation that she has to live on the ranch for an entire year and learn how to run it. And Cash is the foreman of the ranch, so he's been running things for however long now, and he is not happy about it because apparently he was told that he would be inheriting the ranch and is now finding out that he's actually not. But she does admit she's going to sell it. As soon as she gets it, she's going to sell it. She needs the money for her own, like, designer cowgirl boot business. Like, okay. And he does not want that to happen. Aside from it being his home, and, like, he's, like, Garrett, Molly's father, was, like, a father to him and his brothers, and he's just not ready to let it go. He also needs the revenue from the business to help save his own family's ranch. So there's a lot of like stakes involved for the both of them. So right now I'm at the point where Molly has decided that she's going to stay a month and hope that her mother's lawyers can kind of work around this stipulation in the will to get her this money without having to stay at the whole year. And while she's here, she's just kind of making nice, doing what the will said and learning the ropes. And right now they're just kind of exploring the ranch. And I actually really really, really love. I don't know if the author did a lot of research or is a horse girly or grew up, like, I don't know, but there's a lot of ranch jargon, horse jargon. I was a horse girly, so I appreciate the the correct terminology and just the idea of actually having like we actually get to see them on the ranch. A couple when I read Knotted, that was cowboys that lived on the massive ranch, but you didn't get to see a lot of the cowboy in or a lot of the ranch in. They just kind of said it. This one, there is actually like Cash being the foreman and talking about he needs to like get in touch with the farrier and deal with like the grain order and like the actual stuff that needs to be done on a ranch to keep it running. And I really appreciate the attention to detail with that because it makes it a lot more believable, and it makes the setting a lot more believable, and it's just, I really appreciate it. So like I said, it's a little slow at the moment. I'm appreciating the setting and just the vibe in general. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, but that's my little update. I guess I'm gonna go to bed now. Good morning. It is 7 o'clock, so it's about an hour since I woke up. So I am going to just sit out here for a little bit, enjoy the sunrise that is right in my face right now. I took care of the dogs. As you saw, there was some wildlife around the back of the house, so I left the dogs inside for right now. Normally I let them like run around while I was out here, but I don't want them to chase the deer. So I just made some scrambled eggs with mushroom and I put a little hot sauce on them. And then I used the rest of my berries that I brought along. And then I have some dark chocolate hummus, which is amazing. I will eat the whole container with a spoon, but it's really good. So I have some of that I brought. And then of course I have my blueberry cream coffee is what it is. I'll probably sit out here for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, depending on. It's actually really nice out. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer today, but it's cool right now. Like I can wear this and be comfortable. But yeah, so I don't know, pretty much all day today, my plan is to just read.
Excuse you. Yeah. I get one of these girls. Terrible right here. Yeah. Back wins $20. You guys got it? When I say go, all your folks get set. Go, go, go! They weren't paying attention to I got it, you. round number 3, West End Cindy. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome her to the arena. This is the Death Drag.
Okay, we're back in the chair again. So I finished Cash, and I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars, 3 stars. It was boring. It was really slow. There was no like real conflict. Oh, I really like romantic suspense. And I just came off of reading a Catherine Cowles book, which had really good romantic suspense in it, like all her books do. And I wanted something more. I want to say with more. I don't want to say with more substance, but maybe that's what I mean, with more substance, more something. It literally was just like a Hallmarky type romance. City girl inherits a giant ranch in nowhere, Texas, and falls in love with the grumpy ranch foreman. Like, that's what it is. I really, really did appreciate the attention to detail in actually talking about living on a ranch and what goes on in a day-to-day, like daily day-to-day tasks and things on running a ranch. We do get to see that, which I really appreciated. And there were a lot of country music references, which I love because I'm a country music girly. I love country music. There's a lot of Brooks and Dunn references. And it was fine. I had fun with it. And it sets up, so literally this ends on like a cliffhanger to introduce you into Wyatt's book. So Wyatt's book is going to be Childhood Friends to Lovers. I believe we meet her in this. It's the daughter of the vet. Well, they're both vets. They're a ranch veterinarian. And his daughter is also like recently out of vet school veterinarian. So it's the vet's daughter and then Cash's brother Wyatt. So that's the next book that comes out in like December. So I do want to read that just because I'm curious, like, because the way it ends, like, it literally sets up for that, and now I want to know what happens. But yeah, it was all right. I was hoping like there's some animosity with her mother that I thought would have blown up into something else, and it really didn't go anywhere, which is a little disappointing. It just felt like everything was just too easy, too convenient. I don't know, I just wanted more action, I guess. I wanted more romantic suspense element, even though that's not what this was advertised as. I just think I've just happened to be what I'm used to. It was literally just them figuring out how to work together, and then like their relationship develops, and that's pretty much the whole book. I feel like that's why it took me so long to read, because I was kind of like, it was a little boring and it was mundane. But yeah, so I finished that, and it is almost midnight right now. We got back from the fair, the rodeo. I don't even know what the hell time it was. 10 o'clock. It was after 10 o'clock. I have no idea. So I finished that up, and I think I'm at about 7 hours of consistent reading right now. And I don't know if I know for a fact I'm not gonna make it to 24 hours, because it's almost midnight, and this was supposed to be what, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock Sunday, which is tomorrow. That's exactly 17 hours, and that's, I think, is that what I'm missing? 17, and then so we'll say midnight to noon is 12 hours plus 5 is 17. Yeah, so there's no way, because I need to account for 17 hours within 17 hours, and that would mean I would not sleep ever, and I know for a fact that I'm going to have to go to sleep. So I could already predict I'm not going to make the full 24 hours, but I think I'm going to read Ali Martinez's book next. I don't think you can tell that I've been crying. Not ugly tears, but oh my god, this book. Remember when before I started this book, and I said Ali Martinez writes really emotional stories, at least for the couple that I've read. So I don't want to give anything away because I feel like it's a bit, I mean, there is allusions to it that like there's a twist in this that if you're paying enough attention and like are someone that is pretty good at figuring out twists, you probably will figure it out. I was a little bit confused at first by what was happening because some certain details didn't make sense. But now that I've gotten to that part in the book, I understand why they didn't make sense. Anywho, oh my god, this book. So it is a second chance between our hero and heroine, Truett and Gwen. If they were together as teenagers, he enlists in the army. Something awful happens while he's there, and he struggles with the aftermath of that. He ends up being the only survivor of his unit from an attack that happens, and he struggles with survivor's guilt and PTSD, and all kinds of other things happen, and him and Gwen separate for years. I mean, they're in their 40s at this point. It's been like almost 20 years since they've been together, but you get flashbacks of like what happens in the interim, like what happened to cause all of this. Oh my god. And it's not just his PTSD from being overseas in the war, and he was in the war in Iraq, because he talks about Iraq. It's not just PTSD from that. Other things happen that just, oh my god. Oh my god, my heart. When you find out, I'm going to say chapter 22, if you're reading this book, chapter 22 is where you get this, what happens, like the whole of it. 22 and like 23 together, you get like what happened 18 years ago. Oh my god, this book is killing me. Not as bad, I will say, not as bad as The Stars Are on Our Side. That was sobbing ugly tears, but I think that book was because I anticipated what was happening. I knew what was going to happen. This book, I didn't know what was coming. Obviously something traumatic happened to him, and there were two traumatic events that happened in his life, or I should say in their lives, and they happened very close together to one another, and it was just awful. So awful. This book is so good, y'all. I'm 66% of the way through. Like, I almost read the entire thing without updating you. And with the length of this vlog, I probably would have been a better idea, but oh my god, it's so good. It's a big jump from Cash, I will say that much. But this is what I love in like my romance, is the angst and the tension and the drama, and there being conflict and just stakes. It's so good. And I love Gwen's friend group that she has. There's so much like fun banter back and forth between them. And then she has when she buys the diner, she keeps on the one employee that works there, and her name is Lucille, but she calls herself Cooter. And yes, all of the sexual jokes are in there as well with that nickname, but she's such a pisser and has such a mouth on her, and we love her so much. She is such a fantastic supporting character. She's great. So I really love the friend group. It's so good. I keep saying that, but please, like, it's a new release, and I will say y'all have to read this book. And there are, in the very beginning, in the acknowledgments, there are triggers listed for thoughts of suicide, attempted suicide, PTSD, like military or yeah, there's PTSD, gun violence. I don't want to. One of them is loss of a child. I will say that. Like loss of family. It's just so much. There's so many like emotionally heavy triggers in this, so just be aware of that going into it. But I do highly recommend it. I'm not done. Obviously, I still have like 2 hours left to read, but I almost said it's so good again. It is tearing my heart out, especially getting the POV from like just being in Truett's head and like all of the guilt and the way he like lives his life, that just going by this very specific routine because he can't like properly function without it. Oh my god. Oh my god. So I'm trying to like, I had to stop in between to do like to clean and do laundry and all these kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I just want to finish this now because like it's really hitting the emotional impact now, and I don't want to have to drag it out until like I want to finish it today, preferably before I leave here. But I think I'm done with just about everything I need to get done, so I could read until my relatives get home. But time wise, I don't know. Actually, sorry, my finger's in the way. Let me check where I'm at. So I can tell you right now, we're not going to hit 24 hours. I'm at 12 hours right now, and I have 2 hours left to go. So I will tell you that we are not going to hit 24 hours and 48. We'll hit maybe 14 and 48 if I continue reading. I do have 2 hours left of the book to read. I have 2 hours before my time is up. So we may hit 14 and we may get through 2 books, which is honestly better than I expected. To be honest, I expected to fail completely at this. And I also probably should have done this when I had less going on throughout the weekend, perhaps, maybe. We'll see. I might try this again like a different weekend when I don't have anything planned to do. Because the few hours, I did fall asleep yesterday for a couple hours. That was my bad. And then we went to the fair last night. So we were gone for like 4 or 5 hours, so that ate up some time too, plus the whole sleeping thing, because I like to do that. I actually woke up at 6 again this morning and didn't get out of bed till almost like after 7 o'clock, so that was another bit of time that I ate up. So I may try this again at a later time and hopefully be more successful at it. But I will say so far that despite Cash being a little bit on the slower side and kind of boring, completely the opposite from this one, I feel like it's been successful reading because I did enjoy that book, and although this book is so emotionally like heavy to read, I am thoroughly enjoying it. I love Ali Martinez's writing and I love her storytelling, and it just makes me want to read From the Embers even more now because I've been wanting to read that book for so goddamn long and I need to. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna stop talking now and finish this, and then I will give you my final thoughts and close out this vlog. All right, we did it, sort of. We're at a grand total of 14 hours and 6 minutes within a 48-hour period. Almost there, about 8 hours short. I guess you could account sleeping time for that. But I did finish Alone with You. It is currently 5:15 and I finished it a little bit ago, so just about made it. I'm giving this book 5 stars. I also did not know that it goes along with a duet. The Regret duet, written with regret. Wow, I cannot speak right now. Which apparently was a duet written in 2019. So there was you don't see these characters, they are mentioned, and there's an event that happens in their book that their book surrounds that also like intertwines with this book, which I'm curious about now. I don't know if I'm ready to dive into this one right now, but I'm interested that because the duet was written in 2019 and this one just came out the other day. But that'll be interesting to get it from a different POV. So Yes, so I did cry a couple more times in this. You get less flashbacks, but with Trua especially dealing with his grief and his like healing journey and coming to terms with everything. Like there's a lot of like that delving into that like emotional turmoil that he's grappled with for the last 18 years. And I love Ali Martinez. I need to read more by her. I've only read three books now by her, and I've loved all of them. So I definitely need to go back and read more of her backlist. From the Embers absolutely needs to be one of like the next ones I read, and then this other duet as well. But yeah, so that's the end of this vlog. I'm actually happy with it. I did complete 2 whole books in a weekend, which is unheard of for me. It takes me weeks to complete 1 book. I'm on a reading kick right now, so yes, I'm coming. So the dog's gonna eat, so I'm gonna get off here, end this vlog, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys pick up these books if they're interested in them. Absolutely need to pick up Alone with You. Check triggers, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!